How's it going, everyone? I hope you're having an awesome day. Welcome to the channel. I'm the ChainBaker, and in today's video I'll show you how to make super delicious and nutritious multigrain bread. It's the perfect recipe for your New Year's resolutions. So let's go to the kitchen and have a closer look. You just can't go wrong with a big multigrain loaf like this. It has wheat, rye, oats and cornmeal, and not to forget the seeds. Absolutely packed full of flavor, and even more so because it's cold proofed in the fridge. A long fermentation at cold temperature really enhances the flavor. It makes the bread a bit more acidic and also make it stay fresher for longer. And this ain't some dense whole wheat bread. Look at that texture. Super soft and springy. I know the title said that it's a perfect New Year's resolution recipe, but I just can't resist spreading some butter on this. And it's all it needs really. A little bit of butter and some crunchy sea salt. But let's get to it and see what we need to make this. A proofing basket would be great, but if you don't have one, don't worry. Also need a bowl, scales, a dough scraper, a temperature probe, something to slash your dough with. I'm going to use a razor blade. You can also use a knife. For baking, ideally, you want to use a cast iron pan with a lid. But if you also don't have this, don't worry about it. Next up, ingredients. We got some white bread flour, whole wheat bread flour, wholemeal rye flour, oats and oat flakes. You can also just use double the amount of oats. We've got some sunflower seeds, black sesame seeds, but you can use any seeds you like. Next up is some cornmeal, a little bit of olive oil, salt, yeast and water. Okay, first things first, we need to make a soaker. My kitchen is around 22 degrees Celsius, so when you use water there, it's just about the same temperature. And a soaker is exactly what it sounds like. It's a method for soaking things, and it's commonly used for grains and seeds. A soaker can be hot or it can be cold. It all depends on what kind of grains and seeds you're using. Here we have the sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, oats, oat flakes and the cornmeal. They're not extremely tough, so we can soak them in room temperature water. So add the water and give it all a good mix. This will hydrate the grains and seeds. It will help the bread retain more moisture and stay fresher for longer. And it will make it easier on our teeth as well. So cover it up and let it soak for 1 hour. We can use cold water for the rest of the dough. Since I'm kneading by hand, I don't want it getting too warm, especially because this bread is going to be fermented for so long. And just look at that, the grains and the seeds have absorbed all the water. Now we can continue making our dough. Add the rest of the water to it, add the yeast, the salt, then the olive oil and the rye flour. But before we add the wheat flour, we want to give this a good mix. Mix everything well to dissolve the salt and hydrate the yeast, and to distribute the ingredients evenly before adding the rest of the flour. Now add the whole wheat flour and the white flour. Grab your scraper and continue mixing. You want to mix this in the bowl until there's no more dry flour left. And at this point you will feel how sticky this dough is. That's because it contains quite a few sticky ingredients and a lot of water. And to make our life easier, what we're going to do is let it rest. We'll give the dough 15 minutes to sit and hydrate. This will give the flour a chance to absorb the water. The dough will become easier to handle. And because it's quite sticky and stretchy, we can use the stretch and fold method for kneading it. And here's how it goes. Wet your hands with water, pick the dough up, stretch it against the table towards yourself and fold it over. And always pick it up by one side and turn it. So lift, turn, stretch, fold. You want to keep doing this for around 10 minutes. It will be super sticky and messy, but don't get discouraged. Just scrape it all together and continue. As you keep kneading, it will get more manageable. And 10 minutes later, it should look just like this. It is still quite sticky, don't get me wrong, but it is more cohesive, and it doesn't tear as easily. And if you have a mixer, use it. Around 6 minutes on medium speed should be just right for this. Once you have finished mixing, wash your hands, but don't dry them. Wet hands are the best thing for handling sticky dough like this. Okay, so that's the hard part done. It wasn't that hard anyway. Now we can pop this in a bowl, sit back and relax, because at this point it's going in the fridge. Be sure to check the final dough temperature. We're looking for anything between 23 and 24 degrees Celsius, which is about 73 to 75 Fahrenheit. This may seem low at first glance, but we really want this to ferment slowly. Now we can cover this up and pop it in the fridge. This is the start of the cooling down process. We only want this in the fridge for 1 hour. It's a relatively large piece of dough, and the surface of it will cool down before the middle does. This can result in an uneven fermentation. By folding the dough, we'll distribute the temperature evenly throughout it. Performing fold is super simple. Dust your dough with flour, drop it out on the table with the smooth side down, spread it out, and then fold the edge over the middle, going around in a circle till reach point where it started. Then flip it smooth side up again, tighten it against the table, and back in the bowl it goes. And what was on the outside is now in the middle. There is another benefit of folding. It's creating tension. This will help the dough rise more vertically instead of spreading out. So now we can cover it up again and it can go back in the fridge. But this time for 12 to 18 hours. And just look at that, it's puffed up beautifully. This long slow proof really improves the flavor. It makes the crust more crispy, and the acidity will make our bread stay fresher for longer. Plus the flour had even more time to absorb the water whilst it was sitting in the fridge. But now it's final shaping time. Dust your dough with flour, release it from the bowl using your scraper, pop it out on the table, smooth side down again. And final shaping is quite like the fold. Flatten it out, then fold the edge over the middle, going around in a circle to reach point where you started. Flip it smooth side up again, tighten it against the table, and that's your shaping done. But don't pull it too tight, you don't want to tear it. You can also shape this in an oblong loaf if you want to, or if your bread basket is different shape, or you can make little rolls out of it. I felt like this should be a big round rustic loaf, and it does kind of suit it. This is ready for the basket, but it's still a little bit sticky. So what I'm going to do, instead of flouring the basket, I'm going to flour the dough. Give it a heavy dusting, and then rub the flour in. Create a nice even layer. I always used to dust my basket. I actually feel that this is better. You get a far more even coverage. But what is your preferred method? How do you prevent your dough from sticking? Right, in the basket it goes. Make sure you place the smooth side pointing down. Now we can get this out of the way, clean down the mess, and then continue with the final fermentation. The final proof will take anywhere from 3 to 4 hours, depending on the temperature of your kitchen. Just make sure it puffs up really well before you bake it. And during the final hour of proofing, preheat your oven, 220 degrees Celsius, that's 430 Fahrenheit, fan off, and also preheat your pan. If you don't have a pan, then preheat a thick bottom tray. And this is puffed up beautifully. You see how wobbly and full of air it is. I decided to sprinkle the bottom of the loaf with some cornmeal. It is not necessary, I just sometimes like a bit of a crunch on the bottom. Now get your preheated pan out of the oven, and be careful, don't burn yourself. Remove the lid and invert the dough onto the pan. And that's why we place it in a basket with smooth side pointing down. And the final step before baking is scoring. You can cut it however you like, but you're creating weak points for the dough to expand out of. If you don't score it, it will open up at the weakest point, which will most likely be the bottom, where the seam is. If you are really into bread making and don't own one of these pans yet, you should definitely get one, because it makes a world of difference. The lid traps steam inside, helps the bread expand. It makes the crust nice and crispy. You can see how much steam comes out after the first 20 minutes of baking. And all you need to do is remove the lid and pop this back in the oven for around 20 to 25 more minutes, or until the whole crust is nicely browned all over. And isn't that a beauty? My kitchen smells absolutely amazing. And I do hope you try this recipe to experience it for yourself. It's definitely one of the best whole wheat breads that ever came out my oven. And I'm definitely making this one again. So what do you think of this recipe? What's your favorite kind of whole grain bread? Let me know down in the comments. If you want to see more videos like this, click right here. To subscribe to the channel, click over here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.